Welcome to Mr. Giant Reacts and Ting and Ting and Ting. I'm Mr. Giant back with another video for you. And we're going to watch some Novak Djokovic life story, a comprehensive one. Let's go ahead on YouTube and simmer and see what they say about his life.
The best ever. You tell me.
Picture this.
Yeah.
It's the early hours of the morning. You are tucked cozily in bed when you are awakened by the sound of an explosion, air raid sirens, and planes overhead. Your mother is laying unresponsive on the floor, with your father desperately trying to wake her. Before you can wipe the tears from your eyes, you are rushed onto a cold, pitch-black street. The screams of the city are echoing in your ears, with a road shaking beneath your feet. This is not in fact an opening scene to a Steven Spielberg epic, nor is it a snapshot of the Battle of Britain. This was the reality for hundreds of thousands of Serbians, including...
Here's the thing, man. People don't realize the utter fear when that happened. And being a kid, you're laying there and then boom, there's sirens and there's explosions and you know what I mean? And it's all dark. That's some terrifying stuff there. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, you could empathize if you haven't been in it, but you don't really get it. You know what I'm saying? And even as an adult, you know what I mean? Because, okay, like they have sirens and stuff there so they could run to a shelter. On the island, we didn't have that. What we had was this. A fighter jet goes by, boom. There was no warning. There was nothing. And the sound you hear from the fighter jet and the boom is something that you like have never heard before in your life. Same sort of thing with these kids, more than likely. But the utter fear, are you going to be, oh man, people just don't get that stuff. And that stuff leaves a lasting imprint on the way you see life and the way you live life. But that's crazy.
Including a young Novak Djokovic during the 1999 NATO bombings of Yugoslavia, better known as Serbia today. The destruction of the country spanned 78 days, with Djokovic himself recalling fighter jets flying overhead during his 12th birthday party at a local tennis club. This became the norm for young Djokovic.
Okay, I have a question. Some people tell me that the J is silent in the names, and it's got a Y sound. They keep saying Djokovic. I'm thinking it's AI. So is it Djokovic or is it Djokovic? I think I hear a lot of people in this part of the world pronouncing it Djokovic. Please tell me in the comment section, is it Djokovic or is it Djokovic?
Hiding in bomb shelters, practicing his backhand against shattered walls, with the deafening tone of fighter jets becoming the soundtrack for daily life. Despite being incredibly traumatic for all involved, he stated that, "We were lucky not to lose anyone that was very close to us. There were a lot of people who lost close ones in their lives. That's a different level of suffering, a different level of trauma."
Different level.
A šta najviše voliš u tenisu?
Pa najviše volim u tenisu forehand, backhand i volej. S njim pobeđujem protivnike.
Šta ti je cilj u tenisu?
Cilj u tenisu mi je da postanem prvak.
Growing up in a war zone was one of many setbacks for the future champion. The obsession for Novak since he was a young boy had been tennis. He was gifted a small racket and a foam ball, which his father claimed to be the most beloved toy in his life. He officially began playing at age 4. His family invested their savings into sending Novak to numerous tennis camps during the early years. He caught the eye of tennis professional Jelena Jensic, who stated that the young boy was the greatest talent she had seen since Monica Seles. Jenik became an early mentor for Novak, and just 8 years later, his obsession would be the silver lining in an otherwise miserable decade. The family packed their bags and moved to Germany so Djokovic could attend a tennis academy and began the ascent to professional status. The move wasn't as obvious as it might seem today, with his family being offered a very tempting opportunity to live, train, and represent England in a sponsorship-type deal. Novak's parents seriously considered this, as it would have solved many problems, including...
Wait a minute. That's how these big countries do it? Oh, look, a little prodigy. Let's, come over, have a come over here, dangle that money in them, come over here, play for England. That's crazy.
including higher education and job security. However, his mother stated, "You cannot sell your soul and what you are." We knew Novak would not play for the United Kingdom as passionately as he plays for his country. With all of his heart, Novak imposed his...
I know I'm stopping this a whole lot, but listen, when I played college basketball, I felt no, what's the word I'm looking for? I was going through the motions because I felt no loyalty to the school. It didn't feel like, rah, 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 I want to play for this school, you know? I only played like 2 semesters and then I quit because I didn't feel that, oh man, that deep vibe to want the school to win or anything like that. There was nothing, you know what I mean? And it's not the same when you play for your national team. It's just not.
His name on the international scene at around age 14, where he won major tournaments in rapid succession. This included the European Championship singles and doubles titles, while also representing his country in the Junior Davis Cup team. It was only a matter of time until he achieved his dream of becoming a professional in 2003. The priority, which would inevitably come his way if he wanted to succeed in the sport. He first qualified for a major tournament in 2005. Although his Grand Slam experience didn't last long, when Murat Safin eliminated him in the first round. It wouldn't be until the following year, however, to the next level. He recruited fellow countryman Marian Vida, who would become his primary coach for the next 7 years. Vida's coaching undoubtedly helped Novak develop his game, as he eventually won his first Grand Slam in 2008. With a handy Olympic bronze medal in the process. He was now a top 10 player and household name in the world of tennis. However, Djokovic did hit a plateau in the pursuit of becoming world #1, struggling against the likes of Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. It was during the 2010 Australian Open when Dr. Igor Chechevich became very evident of the struggles Djokovic was having on the court. So he decided to reach out to his parents with some intriguing solutions to Novak's otherwise impressive game. These solutions started from the ground up, with focused attention on diet and how his body responded to what he put in his body. The process of implementing a good routine began, as he started optimizing every part of preparation and recovery. Djokovic also added habits like yoga, conscious breathing, and meditation over time to gain further mental clarity on and off the court. This was evident as he led Team Serbia to their first ever Davis Cup win in the same year, a remarkable turnaround of form for any player. 2011 was the pivotal year in which all the pieces finally came together, winning 43 matches in a row and breaking through the plateau to become world #1. Djokovic also clinched 3 more major championships in the process, these being his beloved Australian Open, US Open, and Wimbledon Championship. Former champion Pete Sampras called his 2011 season one of the best achievements in all of the sports, while Nadal referred to it as probably the highest level of tennis that I ever saw. The young, fresh-faced Serb was full of confidence and had the world at his fingertips. He won the Australian Open consecutively in the next 2 years, before former world #1 Boris Becker took over the main coaching role in 2013. Arguably taking him to an even higher level of tennis in the years to come. It was from 2012 to 2015 in which Djokovic continually won the ATP World Tour titles, while steadily notching an impressive number of major titles in what most would consider a short period of time. Important metrics when working out the greatness of a player is 1. How many major titles have they won? 2. How have they responded to adversity on the court? 3. How long were they at the top of their game? To all these questions, Djokovic has proved himself time and time again. So it was inevitable that his name would eventually come up when discussing the greatest of all time. He's not overly flashy. He doesn't do anything extraordinary. He simply makes less mistakes than everyone else and has done it consistently for over a decade. From forcing his way onto the global stage as a talented teenager, to defeating the unbeatable Rafael Nadal on clay, outperforming the competition, including those who were once considered the best to ever play, will always make your success pretty undeniable. The rivalries he has with Nadal and Federer were and still are incredibly entertaining, as we get to be reminded how lucky we are to be living in this golden era of tennis. This is coming from a diehard Federer fan. If you ever need reminding, I recommend you watch the 2012 6-hour Australian Open epic. Maybe just watch the highlights, to which Djokovic went to war with Nadal, or the 2019 Wimbledon final where Novak fought off 2 championship points from Federer and had just about everyone in the crowd rooting against him in the second longest Grand Slam final in history.
So when the crowd is chanting Roger, I hear Novak. So that's...
Love him or hate him, the numbers don't lie. At the time of making this video, Djokovic has sat at world number 1 for 338 consecutive weeks and is 1 Grand Slam away from overtaking both Federer and Nadal for the most Grand Slam titles by any player in history. So what is it that separates him from the rest? Whenever asked this question, Novak refers back to his mindset. My upbringing in Serbia was during several wars in the 90s, a difficult time, embargo in our country where we had to wait in line for bread, milk, water, and some basic things in life. These kinds of things make you stronger and more hungry for success, I think, in whatever you choose to do. That probably has been my foundation, the very fact that I came from literally nothing and difficult life circumstances together with my family and with my people. Other than mindset, I would suggest that having pure love for the game is a crucial piece to the puzzle. No one can stay at the top and continue to improve without genuine love for what you do. Love for the game, discipline, mindset, and doing what most aren't willing to do has paid dividends for Novak Djokovic. That will do us for the incredible life story of Novak Djokovic.
Wow, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. You know what's funny? I didn't realize how many of his matches I watched. I watched a lot of his matches there in the mid-2000s and thing. One with Federer, the one with Nadal on the clay court. I watched a lot of his games. I did not know. Well, it's coming back to me now watching those games. That's crazy. That's crazy. So subconsciously, I was already checking out the Serbian stuff. Which I was. I ain't gonna lie, you know what I mean? I was always interested in that area, but I did not know I watched as many of his games as I did. Yeah, like they said, he wasn't flashy and stuff, but he was just doing his stuff. And yeah, he was flashy to a certain degree. Flashy with fundamentals and stuff like that, power, very little mistakes, you know. That's flashy, I think, you know what I mean? But wow, that is crazy. People underestimate people who come from hardship, you know what I mean? If you watch the news and people come from hardship and they moved to another place, you know, he didn't really move away. But, you know, most people who come from stuff like that, when they get to a place where there's peace and they could move ahead, man, they put their head down. You see, you notice that mostly they talk about the criminal element and this and that, but they never talk about the people who put their head down. They come from a situation like Novak did, and he put his head down and he's like, hey, I'm doing this. I've got the talent. And I've got what I've been through as my motivation to get to where I want to go, number one. And people who haven't been through stuff like that, they don't understand that type of focus. Because when you're going through what he went through, And kind of like what I went through a little bit on the island with those fighter jets bombing, you know, uh, the Navy sending torpedoes to the beach there, you know what I mean? Helicopters just flying over and just opening up. When you come out of that, you have a more zestful life, number one, to want to succeed at what you do. In my case, I just went overboard with wanting peace. I went overboard with just wanting peace because, you know, not just that, I don't want to go through that again. I do have a kid, I have grandkids. I just don't want nobody to ever experience stuff like that. I can't stop it, but that's the other side of the coin. No, here's the thing when they talked about he wouldn't feel loyal if he was playing for England. I totally get that. Like I said earlier in the video, when I was playing for my school, I didn't feel anything. There wasn't any sort of and I'm struggling for a word to find, you know what I mean? I just didn't feel part of anything. So, you know, he made the right decision because, you know, I'm playing for a place that I'm just there. I had nothing in common with anybody there. They couldn't understand my English. I wasn't part of the scene. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So imagine if he had went to England, you know what I mean? Everybody's not speaking English, and I know he speaks English, but you know what I mean? So he's not going to be around people who speak the same language that he grew up with, who understand the culture, who eat the same foods. You know what I mean? So it's hard to feel any kind of kinship with people that you don't feel that with. You understand what I'm saying? So that was a really good decision not to do that. So I understand that part of it. I really do. I think if I had felt that sort of a kinship with the first team, I probably would have really buckled down and played basketball. It just wasn't there. I was just playing. And even though when I was playing and I was on the bench, the crowd would be shouting, "We want Big A." That's what they used to call me. I still didn't feel it. It was just people making noise as far as I was concerned, you know? So I totally get it. I totally get it. I hope you guys enjoyed the life story of him and it inspires you. Comment down below. Tell me what, especially to my Serbian peeps on here and to my Serbian peeps living in other countries, how does it feel to see a man do his thing? You understand what I'm saying? I heard that he's a really good person off the court, doing a lot of charitable stuff and all of that, which is what athletes are supposed to do. And in countries where what he comes from, they do it a lot. A lot of, I know you guys don't play baseball today, but I'm going to go baseball, you know. You see a lot of the baseball players and stuff who come from the Dominican Republic or so, they take that, they go back home and they do some vibe, you know, or even in the community that they're living in within the States. They do a lot of stuff because they totally understand. There's a lot of football players that are like that. I was watching a video the other day where a lot of football players, they just give. And it's not just giving, no, it's not giving back. It's just giving. If it's your people, and you're just giving, it's not giving back, it's giving. It's that simple. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment down below. Let me know what you all think and think. His resilience and all of that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. I'll leave links to a playlist that I have on Serbian stuff that react to. Y'all take care of each other. Let's try to keep the love in this place, okay?